Yeah, probably shouldn't have done this in school, but before we get to that part of the video, let me go ahead and thank all my patrons. If you guys are not already a patron, make sure you check out the link in the description. There are some cool prizes that you can get. I'm sure there's something there for someone, but thank you so much. All the names are at the end of every video. If you wonder who is a patron, if you want to see your name at the end of the video, just make sure to check out that link in the description. But let's get right into the story. So in today's story, I'm going to talk about a time that I was in the 4th grade. Now, this was in a art class, right? This was about the time that I really started enjoying art. And, even to this day, I enjoy art just in a different form than, drawing or you know, all the handheld stuff. I like playing with Play-Doh or clay, whatever you would call it. But let's get into this story. So, one day, we're in class, right? And our assignment, and each day I felt like we had a different assignment or we worked on what we were working on from the time before. So what we were doing was a trace of this guy. He was like a famous person at one time. I don't know who he is right now. I didn't even know who he was then. But I was drawing him and I got done. I got done before the end of class. Basically, you're supposed to trace and then like add your own components to it. Or what, like you traced and then made it your own, right? So I traced, and whenever I traced, there was one side of his face that was kind of gashed in. I'm like, man, that looks like he got stabbed or something. I'm just gonna draw like a big old knife across his face, right? I know. So I draw this big old knife, and I mean, this knife is looking sharp, pun intended. I draw the knife, but unfortunately, it didn't stop there. I was like, well, if he's got a knife in the side of his face, I'm sure he needs a needle in his chin. Like, doesn't 2 and 2 equal 4? So I drew like a needle in his chin. And I didn't stop there. It went from like arrows through the head. I mean, I completely just destroyed this guy's face with all kinds of needles and knives and swords. And honestly, there was blood coming out of all the places. And I was kind of like, I was proud, the knives and the needles looked good. And, at the time, I didn't really get that wasn't acceptable. So I'm like, oh man, I'm done. And the teacher's like, oh, you're done. Here, let me come look at it, because he knows I like doing art stuff. So he comes over there, and I remember I was so happy. I thought he was gonna be like, man, that's a nice needle. Good job. Way to use your creativity. His face of just horror. It was so. He was like, Aaron, I I need you to step outside. Clearly he had no idea what to do. He's never been in this situation before. Next thing I know, I'm sitting up in the office and I'm like, what? Like, okay, okay, maybe I took it a little bit too far. One too many needles. Maybe the arrow through the head was a little too much. But come on, that's a nice knife. No, whenever I get into the office, I kind of understood that. I was like, well, yeah, that probably shouldn't have been done. And here's the thing, like, they like to link those things with like a demented person or just, I'm gonna call this physical harm to somebody. Honestly, it was all fun and games. I mean, I just drew it, I just drew it and it happened, and it was only because of like a slash on the face. And man, it got way out of hand. But you know what? At this point, I know I probably should not have done that in school. Keep your filleting of the drawings to yourself at home. Apparently, creativity is bounded in school to some rules. Horrible, absolutely horrible. Honestly, I still have that picture. I remember, like, my parents, they were just like, why? Where did this come from? What, are you angry? Or, like, honestly, I got head cased for like a year after that. People were like, man, better watch out for that Aaron kid. He's gonna stab a needle in you. I hope you guys enjoyed this little life or story time Hopefully you guys are beginning to tell the difference between the two. I think it's going to take many, many more story times until you kind of see the trend and see how the two are separated. But like I said, right at the end of this video, I mean in like a handful of seconds, you're going to see some names. If you want to see your name there, make sure you check out that link in the description. Guys, I know you probably didn't know because I didn't tell you, but I got the channel repartnered again. My old partner, Maker Studio, dropped me for some reason. Actually, no, they dropped everyone, but you know, I wasn't in the queue. Like I didn't know about it, and I'm just like, what's happening? I don't understand. What have I done? And then I read up on it. I was like, oh wow, thanks. Should have told me. And I think they actually gave everyone like a month in advance to fix this out. But luckily, I'm back on schedule. Everything's going good. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. Let me know down below if you guys have made it this far. Let me know down below some interactive things you might want to see on this channel. I know streaming's a big one, but be creative. Come up with something extra, you know, and maybe you might get featured in that video, in the next video, and I'll let everyone know how much of a baller you are. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Peace. Who doesn't want to see their name at the end of every video? Make sure to check out the Patreon link in the description if you would like to be a part of the club.